Welcome to the Louisiana Business and Industry Show. And now your host, Tim Johnson.
When we began the Louisiana Business and Industry Show 4 years ago on radio and 3 years ago on television, one of our goals was to focus on technology and innovation. A Canadian company has developed a new industrial cleaning process that we believe is a disruptive technology. Shawn Smith, President and CEO of Texonic, joins us when we return on the Louisiana Business and Industry Show.
Since 1919, we've designed and constructed hundreds of industrial plants, roads, ships, dams, and executed some of the most complex jobs in the world. In fact, our quality and dependability are legendary. Today, the legend continues as Brown & Root delivers engineering, construction, maintenance, and industrial specialty services throughout the U.S. and the world from our headquarters here in Louisiana. We are Brown & Root.
In Baton Rouge, see your Good Neighbor State Farm agent Brady Flavin for your insurance and financial needs.
For over a quarter century, Kelly's has operated with honesty, integrity, and above all, safety. Kelly's features a fleet of quality equipment operated by dedicated, safety-minded employees skilled in land clearing, above-ground right-of-way maintenance, vegetation control, station yard and manned facility maintenance, above-ground pipeline support, and more. Kelly's Industrial Services, where pipeline right-of-way maintenance gets done right.
Consumers and property owners with construction projects can have a successful result or regretful experiences that could have been avoided. Before any construction project, verify licensure of the contractor and check references. Scammers will claim to be insured or bonded, so always check first. Download our app, LA Contractor, from the Android or Apple Store. Visit our website, lacontractor.org, or contact the Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors. We're here to help before things go wrong. Hire a licensed contractor. It's the law.
Welcome back to the Louisiana Business and Industry Show. Very pleased to be joined by Shawn Smith. He is the president and CEO of a Canadian company called Texonic that has developed a relatively new and innovative way to clean industrial equipment. Shawn, welcome.
Thanks for having me on, Tim.
Glad you're here. Give our viewers an overview. What is Texonic?
Texonic is a company that has developed new industrial service cleaning equipment based on ultrasonic applications.
Explain that to us. Ultrasonic, what does that mean? How does it work?
Well, to put it in simplicity, think of a speaker you have, or a stereo you have in your home, and you create a speaker wall to create ultimate sound. Well, what we do is we try to create a speaker wall in a bath with ultrasonics, and that speaker wall, instead of creating sound and deliver music to you, is trying to clean pollutants or fouling off industrial equipment.
So say we've got a valve or a piece of process equipment that has a hydrocarbon foul on it. It's coated or whatever it might be, a pump, many different types of applications. You dip it in a chemical bath.
Correct.
And then you introduce these ultrasonics to it. And basically these microscopic sound waves and bubbles that are created clean the equipment better than, say, straight hydroblasting or sandblasting or some of the other applications.
Correct. So again, in simplicity, it's a bath full of chemistry. You're correct. The chemistry is green by nature, and so you take this component apart from a plant that has become fouled with some material on it, submerge it or put it into the bath. The ultrasonics, they're like little micro scrub brushes, and it's this very intense energy within that bath that removes the fouling and returns the part to where it should be.
It really is a very interesting process. Now, you guys have been in business, as I understand it, for about 16 years. You
Correct.
started off in the Canadian oil sands, and explain the history of the company and how it's evolved since it was originated.
Well, we started very simply back 16 years ago. So up in the oil sands of Canada, kind of at the end of the earth, as a simple industrial service company, so a company offering cleaning services to the plant. And we used hydrojetting or high pressure water blasting at that point, and realized early on that we knew there had to be better applications. Water does not necessarily clean oil very well, it just moves it around. So we started dabbling and looking at other applications and fell really into ultrasonics. Ultrasonics are well proven, have been around for 50 plus years, used in the biomedical field, circuit board cleaning, very light duty applications. What we did is we simply built it for industrial scale applications. Much more strength, much more horsepower to address those needs.
Yeah, and what happened as I've studied is that some of your customers came to you, and as you cleaned bigger and bigger pieces of equipment with this technology, somebody finally came to you and said, hey, do you think you could clean a heat exchanger? And that's really how the company took off from there, right?
Yeah, in simplicity, obviously we've reacted to customer demand or request. We started very small, one small little bath on a plant. And then more and more as we expose the technology to others within that plant and other plants, the demand for bigger applications all the way up to heat exchangers, which typically are the biggest process items on a plant. The demand was for those applications, and we addressed it by building these larger scale applications.
You talk about in the presentation about the product a number of the differentiators, the things that set it apart in the marketplace from the way that industrial equipment has typically and historically been cleaned. Let's get into those differentiators a little bit. Start with the big picture in terms of what makes this technology different.
Okay, well, let's start with obviously what happens traditionally today, or what conventional applications are. High pressure water blasting has been used in industrial cleaning for years, decades actually. That and typically chemical cleaning. So that's where we started. That's the nature of or the competitive nature of what's out there today. Now the demand for different technologies and applications then has evolved from there. So that's where we started our search.
Now we talk about Texonic being cleaner, faster, greener, and safer. Let's take those one at a time. Okay. Cleaner. Why is it cleaner than the typical technologies, particularly water blasting, hydroblasting?
Well, cleaner applies to obviously addressing the component or piece of equipment we are trying to clean to get it back to its design state, so when it was first put in the plant. So the nature of ultrasonics allows these micro scrub brushes I talked about to get into all the areas of that component to clean it and remove all of the contamination on it. So the cleaner aspect is to get it to a much higher level. So we have been told by industry, or the reports have come back, that we can improve the cleanliness of that component by 20, 30, 50, even 100% more than what is traditional, what the conventional applications can do out there.
Shell or some of your other customers have come back to you and said, in our typical hydroblasting technology, we were getting these heat exchangers back to 70 to 75% cleanliness or back to factory spec. With Texonic, it's getting them back to 95% plus in terms of the cleanliness. Got about 35, 40 seconds left here in this segment. Talk about that specifically.
Well, the primary focus with Shell was on, again, from a heat exchanger as a component, is cleaning the shell side of the heat exchanger, which is very complex. The microscopic nature of ultrasonics allows the power, the energy to get into all those small areas and remove the fouling that typical conventional applications can't do. And that's allowing a cleaner product to be put back in the plant to be more efficient than which has the ability to process more material.
We're going to take a break. We're going to come back and talk about some of the other differentiators. Faster, it's greener, it's more environmentally friendly, and particularly it's safer, less exposure for personnel as well. I think those things are critical. I also want to talk a little bit about the fact that in a lot of these components today, in order to clean them, they have to break them down, take them apart. With the Texonic technology, you can dip the whole component without having to take it apart and really get it much cleaner.
Correct.
We're visiting with Shawn Smith. He's the president and CEO of Texonic, and you're watching the Louisiana Business and Industry Show.
Spadel's Florist was founded over 30 years ago. From my mom's kitchen, we have grown into one of the largest florists in this area. There's a sense in our community that you stick together. Good times or bad, and oil and gas is part of that family. They're my neighbors. They're my customers. They're the person I'm sitting next to at church. If oil and gas is doing well, all of our businesses are doing well. We are Louisiana Oil and Gas.
For more than 25 years, the TJC Group has been helping industry communicate and build relationships with communities, elected officials, and governmental agencies. We are the leading firm in the U.S. for the development, management, and facilitation of industry-based community advisory panels.
Whether you're building a new facility or you manage an existing business, let us put our community and governmental relations experience to work for you.
The TJC Group, facilitating solutions for business and industry.
It might be one of the most efficient, most effective methods of communications we've ever used.
What if I said that the American dream is alive and well, and that it exists for anyone willing to build it? That the power of a nation does not reside in its monuments, but in the hearts and minds of those who built them, and that the country's greatest heroes also wear hard hats. In today's America, it's not enough to dream about the future. You have to build it. Build your future at byf.org.
Welcome back to the Louisiana Business and Industry Show, visiting with Shawn Smith. He's the president and CEO of Texonic. We talked about the history and the overview of Texonic, what makes it a little different. We started talking specifically about these differentiators, and one of the things that differentiates the Texonic industrial cleaning technology is that it really does do a better job cleaning the equipment, the components. You told me a story, and you've told the story in a couple of presentations that I've been able to see, about some valves that you cleaned for a customer in Europe, maybe Shell, and their third-party valve repair company making a comment about the cleanliness. Tell us that story.
Well, the project we did was with Shell, and they had 700 plus valves. And the typical process with the valves are that they get cleaned rudimentarily at site, and then they are moved off-site to a third party who then has to really break them apart, clean them again, and then do service work on them. So in this particular project, they used our application at site, sent it to third party received them, and basically sent emails back to Shell saying, pardon me for saying this, what the hell did you guys do this time? The parts are the cleanest we've ever seen. We don't need to re-clean them. Now they can get right into the servicing side, and so they were blown away by them.
And that leads really to the discussion of the next differentiator. It's faster. This is a faster process than typically pulling an exchanger, pulling a piece of equipment, setting it on a wash pad, having multiple personnel out there to wash. Talk about the faster aspect of Texonic.
Well, if we use just the example of a heat exchanger, obviously a bundle of tubes put together, typically that process is two-stage. They have to clean the tube side of the heat exchanger and then the outside of the heat exchanger. It's a two-stage process, usually using conventional water blasting. So it typically is a very slow process. They have to run the tubes and then clean the outer shell. In our process, you take the whole piece, submerge it into a bath. Now the ultrasonics are attacking both shell and tube side at the same time, thus creating a faster, a quicker cleaning process. So in most cases, and in the statistics provided by clients, we can clean things in half the time traditional or conventional things can do.
Yeah, depending on the level of fouling of, say, a heat exchanger, we're looking at somewhere around 4 hours, maybe a maximum of 6 if it's really, really heavily fouled. But on average, about 4 hours to clean a complete heat exchanger, which really does accelerate. And the whole idea, obviously, of the chemical industry, the refining industry, in a turnaround situation is they want to move as quickly as they can to get their process equipment back online in the safest manner possible. And you really are hitting a number of those as you expedite the way they can clean these components and put them back in. Now, all of industry is concerned about its environmental performance, right? It's always seeking to do things better, more environmentally friendly, cleaner, and greener. we talk specifically about Texonic being a much more environmentally friendly process, a much greener process. Let's talk about that as a differentiator.
Okay. Well, certainly, as you alluded to, in the past, time is money at the plant, but not to leave safety out. Safety is a concern. It's a growing concern around the world at all plants. So our applications have very little human capital attached to them. So what does that mean? Our operator base drops pretty dramatically. So when a client will use our technology at their sites and bring our equipment to site, we can have one operator operating multiple pieces of equipment versus conventional applications, which tend to be very intense on the human capital side or people side. From the site, the perspective with them is the less people in the line of fire, the better for them, the safer the environment.
You mentioned, and we'll talk a little bit about the environmental differentiator as well, but you mentioned that these baths, these pieces of equipment, don't have a personality.
Right.
They never are responsive to outside factors. All they want to do is clean. Tell our viewers how you describe that.
Well, they truly don't have a personality. I mean, our business is driven by people, obviously, but it tends to be up and down depending on what's happening to that person that day, and of course the workload they're running under. With a piece of equipment, it has no personality. It is there to do a job 24/7, 365. Fill it with the components that need to be cleaned. It will continue to operate, clean that equipment with all the capacity that it offers.
And that's another thing that we've talked about is that depending on the size of the machine, and there are a number of different sizes that are available, you can load it up with as many components as you can get into the vat, right? And it will clean them all, and that's pretty important. Now, I've been really interested in the last 2 minutes that we have in this segment about the environmental performance, how much cleaner, how much greener it is. Let's talk about why this differentiates itself from typical water blasting.
Okay, and I don't want to come across as being, saying disparaging things about the water blasting community. They have a purpose out there. But certainly with respect to our applications, we will reduce water consumption, so the demand on water, and therefore the wastewater creation through that process at a plant that typical water blasting equipment would utilize. They use large volumes of water to push through at high pressures to obviously attempt to clean equipment. We eliminate a lot of that because our equipment, our submersion baths, that's where the cleaning is being done. And think of our submersion baths strictly as an industrial washing machine. Right. That's what they are. And so that environmental impact on water and wastewater is reduced dramatically.
One project that you had mentioned where a company had estimated that it might need to use 11 million gallons of water in a typical cleaning process, they implemented your technology and used 1 million gallons of water. So a savings of 10 million gallons of water, and they had priced that water and disposal of that water at about 50 cents a gallon. So you can do the math, right? So it is cleaner, it's faster, it's greener, and it's safer, and that's really what makes this technology special. We'll come back, we're going to talk a little bit about how you are partnering with some folks to maybe spread this technology across the Gulf Coast.
Absolutely.
We're visiting with Shawn Smith. He's the President and CEO of Texonic, and you're watching the Louisiana Business and Industry Show.
For more than 20 years, the TJC Group has been helping companies assess their training needs and to develop programs that improve the effectiveness and productivity of their teams.
Training doesn't have to be expensive or complicated. Let us put our experience and expertise to work for you.
The TJC Group, facilitating solutions for business and industry.
Keene Miller traces its roots to the dawn of the petrochemical industry in Louisiana. As the legal needs of the sector grew, our firm emerged as a leader in environmental law, economic development, real estate, employment, utilities regulations, and more. Today, these same clients and those new to our state continue to rely upon the firm and its attorneys for creative ideas, practical advice, and Louisiana know-how. Industrial strength law. Learn more at KeeneMiller.com.
Tim Johnson here for Gulf Coast Occupational Medicine. With some of the most knowledgeable and hardest working medical professionals in Louisiana and 8 convenient locations in Greater Baton Rouge, Gulf Coast provides injury management, physical exams, medical surveillance, and substance abuse testing. Once you know the folks at Gulf Coast, you'll realize they are your best option to protect your safety record and your bottom line. Gulf Coast Occupational Medicine. Ride the wave to safety.
What if I said that whatever good things you build you? And that in this economy, sweat never loses its value. What if I said that there isn't a challenge in the world too great for a craft professional with the right tools, and that the steps that lead from where you are to where you want to be can only be built by you? Build your future at byf.org.
Welcome back to the Louisiana Business and Industry Show. Pleased to be joined by Shawn Smith, the president and CEO of a company called Texonic. Shawn, we've talked about the differentiators. We've talked about cleaner, faster, greener, safer. You've got an interesting clip, narrated video clip that sort of explains the Texonic technology. Set that up for us.
It's a very simple animation just showing how ultrasonics work in the removing of contamination of an industrial piece of equipment.
A valve, I think it is.
Yes, it is.
Let's take a look at that clip.
This animation demonstrates a valve being cleaned using the Texonic system. The cleaning process is greatly enhanced by the use of specially engineered chemistries. Ultrasonic cleaning is a result of sound waves being introduced into a cleaning liquid by means of a series of transducers mounted to the cleaning vessel. The sound travels throughout the vessel and creates cycling waves of rarefaction and compression in the liquid. In a rarefaction wave, molecules in the liquid create microscopic cavitation bubbles. Hundreds of thousands of these cavitation bubbles form on all surfaces of the valve being cleaned. Entering the compression wave, the bubbles implode, generating a sonic pulse and creating small but forceful microjets of liquid that remove the contamination from the valve. As this cavitation process continues, special surfactants in the liquid hold the fouling and debris in suspension to keep it from adhering back onto the valve when being removed from the vessel. From here, a light water rinse will remove any soapy chemistry, completing the Texonic cleaning process.
Very interesting clip. That's good stuff. I think that really does animate the process and talk about why this technology is so interesting. Really getting into areas that typical water blasting can't get to, and I really appreciate that. Let's talk about ROI, return on investment. Obviously, you're a businessman. You know that you deal with businessmen in industry who make decisions based on return on investment. This process, this technology has delivered some pretty significant ROI. Talk about that.
ROI is generated in many different ways at a plant. $40 oil for now and for the foreseeable future is a big impact on return on investment and adoption of technology. Energy savings, process throughput improvement, safety impact reductions, environmental cost savings. Add all those up, that's a significant return on investment to a client. And that's why we have many, many plants looking to adopt our technology moving forward.
It really has been good. And actually, some of your clients have done some studies that have shown in some of these areas it's 14-to-1 maybe, which is really, really good. Now, one of the things you're doing, Shawn, is you're working now. You've had great success in Canada. You've had great success in Europe.
Yes.
Really working now to get this technology deployed along the Gulf Coast. Working with a company, quite frankly, with which I am involved, called Sonic Green Solutions. Let's talk about that relationship and your desire to deploy this technology along the Gulf Coast.
Okay, well, starting with the latter question, the Gulf Coast is a concentration of facilities that you will see nowhere else in the world. So we have obviously a strong desire to create a real foothold in this area. We seek, from a business model, partners in key areas to deliver services. We started as an industrial service company, but that's not where we are the rest of the world. That's only back in the oil sands. So for us, partners are one thing, strategic partners are another. And we are looking for strategic partners who have like-mindedness, want to bring new technologies, new innovations to the clients down here to deliver enhanced ROI. And with Sonic Green, we believe we have found that group to work with.
I am very excited about it from the perspective, and you and I have had this conversation, and I've had it with the partners, Charlie Landry and Jay Egloff I'm involved with, that over the 25 years I've been involved with industry, I have shied away from a lot of the calls I get from people who think they have a better mousetrap and saying, you've got these relationships, help us get into industry. I saw this and I realized how disruptive and what a game changer it actually can be, and I've gotten excited about it too. And quite frankly, a lot of the clients that we've met with now see the value in it, and I think that the future is bright. Now, part of how you got in touch with Sonic Green Solutions is because of some synergy that exists with another piece of technology that we are utilizing here along the Gulf Coast, Greener Blast. Yes. Talk just 30 seconds about that synergy.
Well, the synergy strictly with the Greener Blast is it's a dry blasting technology. And we're always looking ways to enhance our technology. And this application, when used in a heat exchanger with cleaning out a tube, can be the end polishing element on the tube, which just adds more value to the client, and that's what we're always looking to do.
Really is. So you couple Texonic with this Greener Blast, Slurry Blast technology, and you really come out with a product and the synergy between the two technologies that is really, really beneficial from the clients. We've got about 30 seconds left. If someone's watching this, someone who's a maintenance manager, a turnaround manager, a plant manager, construction manager, and they want more information on Texonic, what should they do?
Well, the easiest way is our site is full, our website is full of information, reference, a lot of white papers, a lot of customer references. So to our website, texsonicint.com, but also in a direct basis here locally to seek out Charlie, Jay.
Sonic Green Solutions.
Sonic Green Solutions, absolutely.
Listen, man, it's been a great pleasure. I'm really excited about this technology. I think it's going to be a game changer along the Gulf Coast. Shawn Smith, thanks for being with us today, man.
Pleasure.
We'll have you back sometime soon.
Look forward to it.
That's a wrap, guys. Thanks for joining us. Join us again next week at this very same time for another edition of the Louisiana Business and Industry Show.